So as you can see now that installation is completed. Uncheck this box. Why? Because we do not want to send any data to Citrix for diagnostic. Okay. Click on next.
In the real time also it is the same, huh? We will not send
Yes.
anything to Citrix.
Yes. If you are into the banking sector or any other, the product based company, so they guys never recommend to send any data. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see Visual SQL like remote assistant, delivery controller, studio directory license server, and everything is installed, right? So here, if you want to launch studio for now, you can check this or you can uncheck this. So let me uncheck this. Click on finish. So we have done with the installation. Now, if you click on the start, so you will find Citrix components here like director, studio, license server,
Yeah.
and into the database we are having SQL Express, okay, on the same machine. So
Okay.
now what we have done basically, so we have simply installed delivery controller, studio, director, license server. That's it. We have simply done the installation, right? But
Yes.
as per the network diagram, you can see these component, it should be interconnected, right? Right now there is nothing is
Correct.
connected, right? We simply installed it. That's it. Just
Correct.
next, and installation is finished, right? So now
Correct.
what we have to do, we have to create the site, right? So when we are creating the site now, we have to map each and every component with the delivery controller, right? So we do not have to map the active directory server. Why? Because that delivery controller itself join into our domain, right? So that is already mapped, right? Now our task is to map studio director, then license server and the SQL server. Storefront we will do later on, and we will map our hypervisor to this site only, okay, into this delivery controller. So to do the same, simply launch the studio console, click yes.
So first time we are launching the Studio Console.
Yes.
Okay. Had your breakfast?
uh, I'm unable to do so actually. Now I'm having lots of cough inside, very difficulties in speaking as well. So what I'm planning, after site creation, now we will wrap up for the day. I will take some medicines, then we will continue for tomorrow onwards. Okay. So when you open Studio for a first time after the installation, you will get a blank site and you will get three options like to create a new site, to deliver application and desktop to your end users, and if you have any physical machines in your office, right, and you want to publish that physical machines, it could be a desktop or a server or whatever it is, right, but it should be a physical machine. But if you want to publish the physical machines to your end users over the internet, so in that case you can select this option. And
Okay.
if you already having any existing delivery controller into your site, right, so you can scale up your deployment with this option, right? Is it clear? We are
Connect
having,
this delivery control to existing site.
yeah, for,
Okay, there is an existing site. We are extending this delivery controller to manage that site also.
yes, why? Because for an example, like your existing delivery controller, it is designed to handle 200 connections at a time, right? But
Mhm.
somehow connections are getting increased or users are increasing, right? So in that case, you have to set up second delivery controller, right? For load
Okay.
balancing. So
Okay.
we do not have any existing one. We do not have any physical machine. We are into the virtual world. So we will create our first site. Okay. So select this option. Now we have to enter the site name. So it could be a office name, uh, home address, company name, whatever you want to give, you can give. Like for an example, like we can give like India hyphen HO stand for the head office. Means if you are having multiple sites in country or over the globe, so your naming convention should be identical, right? So you can use any naming convention. Click on next. Now very important. Here what we are going to do, we are going to map our SQL server to a delivery controller now. Okay. So in Citrix,
So that is the first step, huh?
yeah. So now it is asking. No, sorry, yeah, I'm having kind of headache. Okay. So it is asking to connect the database, right? So in Citrix, we are having three kind of database, like site database, monitoring database, and the logging database. India HO, this is our site name, okay? This is not the database name, but this is our site name. Database is site, monitoring, and logging. So whatever the site configurations are done, all those logs will be stored here in site database. Means how we have configured our site. What is the IP address of our servers, right? Whatever the site configuration we have done, all those logs will be stored here into the monitoring database. So what monitoring database will do? It will store all the logs which is related to the hardware utilization of the virtual machines. Means CPU utilization, memory utilization, network utilization. If any machine is overutilizing the hardware due to some external process or whatever the process or application, right? So some alert will be triggered. You will get some email, you will get some notification like this machine is not like behaving properly or something is wrong in that machine, right? So these kind of logs will be stored here. Why this is important? Why? Because sometimes it happens like users are continuously complaining like, he is having some slowness into the machine again and again, right? Although your virtual machine is running on 16 GB of RAM or maybe 24 GB of RAM, right? But
Hmm.
at particular interval of time, let's suppose at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., that machine is really very slow, right? So what you have to do, you have to log into, you have to pull out the records from the monitoring database, and you have to pull the reports for next or not next for last 7 weeks or 15 days, right? Not 7 weeks, 7 days or 15 days, right? And you will get some data like at what a particular time this machine is utilizing the hardware resources at peak level. Okay, so these kind of logs will be stored here, and this is
Yeah,
applicable for every virtual machine. Okay, now
yeah.
coming to the logging database. So into the logging database, it is completely related to the logging. Means when users are logging in, when users are logging off. Okay, what your Citrix engineers are doing in your infra, how they are modifying your infra, what activities your engineers are performing, like what application they are publishing, how many virtual machines they are creating, whatever the activities are performed by your Citrix engineers. All those kind of
Hmm.
logs will be there. Means if you are having 10 engineers or 15 engineers in your infra to support a client, right? So some engineer may be in day shift or night shift or afternoon shift, right? So with the help of logging database, if something goes wrong, you can check the activities of your engineer, right? To roll back the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are the three database, and now we have to map it, the SQL server. So as you can see, in our case, we have installed SQL server on the local machine. So it is saying localhost slash SQL Express, that is a database instance name. Okay. But in production, you will have to replace the local host with the IP address or the host name of your SQL server. Getting my point?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have to ask your database engineers to create these three databases in SQL server. Then you have to get the path, the location, right? And then you have to click on next. Any doubt here? This is very, very important.
Yeah, this is fine. But if you are not using,
Mm-hmm.
if you are using the host name and something like that, then we'll have to use properly name resolution, the DNS thing also properly, right?
Yeah, DNS should be proper. You can use host name or either you can use IP address as well. Okay.
The FQDN and the followed by the SQL database. Is that
Express, yes. The instance name. Okay.
the instance name, whatever the instance, that
Yes.
instance name? So we would just request that if it is required, okay. If it is
Mhm.
already existing, we'll just copy and paste that here
Yes, yes,
in
yes.
case of
Yeah.
upgrade.
In case of upgrade, you have nothing to do with the database.
It'll automatically take.
Yes, yes, it will automatically take.
Okay.
When you will be upgrading it now, there will be nothing will be changed in site configuration. Configuration it will remain same. Okay. Only version will be updated. Simply click on next. So what it will do, it will validate the database and it will create three database in SQL server what we have installed in our local machine like in our delivery controller.
No, see,
Mhm.
it is going to create these databases newly, or we'll just add which is already created.
We have installed SQL server as a fresh installation now, so it is creating
Oh,
now.
okay, okay. On
Uh,
this device, okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this
correct, correct.
device. But in production now, it will be already there, right?
So then we will say just select, and then if it is already there, then what we'll do?
You have nothing to do. It will automatically pick it up from the site configuration. Okay. We are just doing the site configuration. Now, what we have to do, we have to map the license server. Okay. So to map the license server, also we have configured license server on the local machine, and that is a port number for the license server, Citrix license server 27,000. In production, you have to change the local host with the host name of the IP server, sorry, license server or the IP address, and you will get separate license server for your
So correct me if
production.
I'm wrong.
Mhm.
When you say license server, this license server is for managing the with the VDIs that we are going to create. This license server will give the license to those
No, no, this
servers.
license server, uh, it is responsible to register the VDI with the Citrix. Why? Because we have taken, we are using the Citrix services. So, if any of your machines are not registered with Citrix, so that machine it will never launch for the end user. User will get some error like machine is unable to start the machine or something like that. Okay.
Okay, so this is for license server. Then how is the Windows license managed? Now there is operating system.
That is a separate cost.
How is that managed?
That has been taken care by the Microsoft now.
We don't
Microsoft
have to worry
volume
about that
license.
also.
No, no, you have nothing to worry. One Microsoft license server should be there. You might know KMS. Uh,
KMS, yeah.
I'm not getting the full form of that word. KMS like it is a license server from Microsoft only to activate the Windows license. Okay. So am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So location is localhost. Port number is 27,000. Now by default, Citrix allow us to use the product for 30 days at free of cost. Okay. But if you already having any existing license, so you can select second option. You can click on allocate the license, and over here you have to enter the code, whatever the code you will get from the Citrix, okay, to increase your license count. And
Okay.
if you do not have license code, in that case, you will get one LIC file that is known as license file from Citrix, okay. So if you have a license file, just click on browse for the license file, and you will get some file in LIC extension bit.lic. You have to locate that file and you have to open it. Right now, we do not have any license file, okay. So simply I'm canceling it. And we are into the test lab, so we are good with the 30 days trial, okay. And also you can add like a license later on as well after 30 days trial, okay. So that is not an issue. Simply click on next. So it will validate our license server. Perfect. Now, very, very important. Now we have to map the hypervisor to the delivery controller. Why? Because delivery controller is responsible to register the VDI basic takes whatever the virtual machine we will host on our hypervisor, right? So hypervisor we have to connect to our delivery controller. So right now what we are doing, we are connecting each and every component to our delivery controller, right? So now Citrix supports all the available hypervisors into the market. So if you can see here connection type, so first one is Citrix hypervisor, of course, but if you do not have Citrix hypervisor, you can use VMware vSphere as an hypervisor, and you can use that Microsoft Hyper-V. Earlier it was Hyper-V, but now they guys rename it to System Center Virtual Machine Manager. Okay, so like we have three most popular player in virtualization. Citrix hypervisor supported, Microsoft Hyper-V is also there, and VMware vSphere client is also supported, right? If you do not have any hypervisor, you can select this for physical machines, and I'm not sure what is that wake up on LAN, okay? Just forget about it. So we are having Citrix hypervisor, so we'll go with this one. Now it is asking for the hypervisor address. So we have to give the hypervisor IP address here. So in my case, it is http colon double slash 192.168.10.101. So that is the IP of my hypervisor. Username is root for my hypervisor, and I have to enter the password of my hypervisor into the connection name. So connection name, it should be identical. So this is our first hypervisor. So what we will do, we will put connection name like CTX for Citrix, HYP for hypervisor, and so first hypervisor, so name it 01. So in that way, if you are having 10 or 12 hypervisors, so you have to use this kind of naming convention. Any doubt here?
Okay, got it.
Simply click on next. Now what it will do, it will validate the credentials. Okay, credentials are validated of our hypervisor. Now it is asking like the storage management, where we have to keep our virtual machine. So our virtual machine should be on hypervisor for sure, right? But in production, you will find storage like network storage like iSCSI or shared or SAN or NAS, right? So those kind of storage you will find to keep data at centralized location, right? So in that case, you have to use first option and you have to give the path of your network storage, like the IP address of your network storage. But in our case, we do not have that network storage for testing purpose, so we will go with the local storage.
Okay.
And a local storage, what the 500 GB of SSD, what I have on my physical bare metal hypervisor. So I will
Okay.
store all those.
So
Like
in the real time, it could be file server also, na?
yes, it
Or
will.
file server
No, no,
or
it
Azure
will always be file server only. Okay.
file server only. It can also be. We can also keep the files in Azure also, right? Azure file share.
Yes, yes, you can do that. So in this case, we are using local storage. Click on next. Now we have got the.
So can we go back
Mhm.
and
Hello.
can you click back to the storage management?
Give me a minute. Mhm.
So if I click on use shared hypervisor, then what
Mhm.
will be the next thing? If you click next, it will ask any other details.
Unable to find any shared storage. Why?
Okay.
Why it is? Because this is our hypervisor, right? And in hypervisor, if I go to the local storage, right? So I am having one local storage here, right? This is a local storage, 428 GB, right? I am having ISO share as well, right? But I do not have any shared storage here.
Okay.
Okay, so if you want to add the shared storage, so what you have to do, you have to add it first. Click on new storage. From here,
Mm,
you have to select iSCSI. Okay,
mm, mm.
click on next. You have to give some name. You can select any, whatever the requirement.
Mm.
And here you have to give the IP address of your storage.
Okay.
Okay, got it?
Mm, okay.
So in production, you will always find some network storage. It should be already added. Okay.
Okay. They'll be added here.
Yes. First, you have to add it in your hypervisor. Now, then only you can keep your virtual machines. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, click on next. So now we have two kind of storage selection here. Like OS, we always used to keep operating system on the shared storage, and temporary files we can keep on the local storage. Temporary files means the event logs or some cache, right? So those kind of little data we can keep it. Why? Because these are the temporary files, and after every reboot, these files will go away, right? So this is how in production you will find OS on the shared storage and temporary files you will find on the local one.
Okay.
Now network. So we are having only one network, but in production you may find multiple VLANs, right? Developer VLANs or any other VLAN, right? In our
Mm,
case, we are having only one, so can type CTX hyphen NAT hyphen 0. So it will match that. Okay, click on next. App be publishing. This is about to decom, and this is a feature from the Microsoft. But after Citrix, we can create our own application server, and that's very easy to manage. Okay, but in some legacy companies who is running on older infra with Windows Server 2012 or 2008, right? Over there, you may find FB servers as well, okay? But this is not for you right now. and you will never find this. Okay, if you find this anywhere in your this project, please let me know. Click on next. Now here is summary what we have selected: the site name, database, three database, delivery controller is this CTX ctxwpdc.techmtech.com, the license server, connection, hypervisor, and the storage selection what we have selected. So now this is a summary, right? How we have configured our site, right? So whatever the entries you can see here, all those this database and records what you can see here, all these records will be stored inside this database, site database. Why? Because these are the site configurations. Getting my point?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Simply click on finish. So I think I have to take some strong medicines now. Okay. Let's wait for a while. I'm on mute for a couple of minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, buddy. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So in production, we'll
Mm,
find this kind of console, similar as it is. Okay, everywhere.
mm, okay.
So this is your studio for India side, India HO, and you will get these kind of options like machine catalogs. So machine catalogs are nothing. These are the collections of the all the virtual machines, right? So whatever the count of the virtual machines, you will get that list over here. Okay.
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Uh, Continue.
So basically, machine catalogs are the collection of the virtual machines. Okay. So whatever the count of the virtual machines are there in your office, you will get all the list over here. And what is delivery group? Basically, delivery group is something with the help of delivery group you can deliver the desktop and applications to the end users, and you can restrict the access of the virtual machines to a specific team or user. Means if you have one machine catalog here for HR team, right? So you must have to restrict access of these virtual machines to HR team only, right? So
Mm.
with the help of delivery group, you can achieve that target. So when we will be creating the machine catalogs, now I will guide you how to do that. Okay, with practicals. Right now, I'm just letting you know what is machine catalog. It is a collection of the virtual machine. In this single console, you will get list of all the thousand or hundred or whatever the count of virtual machines are there. Will get each and every virtual machine listed here. Okay. Delivery group. I told you with the help of delivery group, you can deliver and you can restrict the access or use of that particular virtual machine to specific users. With the help of application, you can publish or you can create the applications for end users with the help of the application server. That we will do the practicals. Policies,
So you'll also teach me how to host an application and then publish it to the users
I
here,
have
right?
to cover each and everything. I will go step by step only. Okay.
Okay.
So policies are quite similar to the Active Directory policies. With the help of that, you can restrict the end users to perform unauthorized uh, activity, right? So, but everywhere only Active Directory group policies are preferred, right? So this is a optional one. Okay, if you do not have any Active Directory policy, in that case only you have to deploy these policies. Okay, or as per the company standard. So I will show you in upcoming sessions how to configure any policies. Now this is very important, logging. So as I told you, logging, it is a database, and as you can
One
see,
minute. How this policy is different from group policies?
not different, but if you do not have group policies, in that case, look, group policies are only applicable like
At the OS level, huh?
yeah, OS level. But if you have
Okay.
to deploy any policy to, for an example, like I'm accessing my VDI, right,
Ah,
with my personal device, right? So group
uh,
policies are deployed on your system. That is completely fine, right? But if I want to copy something from my VDI to my local desktop, right? If I have
okay.
taken RDP, so I can do that, right?
Okay.
So
These are
these kind of,
configuration policies.
yeah,
Correct.
these are the local policies, okay? And that is
Correct.
applicable on Citrix workspace and VDI.
Mm,
Okay, it will not affect the domain group policies. Okay.
mm, mm.
Now logging. So this is very important. Now I am the only engineer here who has performed or set up the site, right? So that is my username, CT admin, right? Whatever the operation I am performing here with start date and time and with status, right? All those logs will be stored here, like whatever our engineers are doing, right?
Yeah.
In future, if I create new machine catalog, I will get some records here, like this user perform that activity, right?
Yeah.
Now into the configuration, go to the administrator. Hmm. Here you will find list of all of your Citrix administrator. Right now I am the only only one, but if you have got new joiner in your company, you can click on create administrator, and after that you have to select the role for that engineer. select all object, and first we have to select that user. So for an example, I have selected test user. So let's pick text user 01. This is a new joiner and I want to make him Citrix administrator. Click OK. Click OK again. Click on next. Now I have to assign the role for that user. Means if he is a L3 guy, I can make him full administrator. After that, he will be having all the full controls on my data center. But if he is a training engineer or a help desk guy, in that case, I can give him read-only permission, so he will be able to see the uh, site, but he cannot modify. But if I want him to create machine catalogs only at L2 level, I can assign that role for you. And if he is a help desk guy, in that case, I can assign this role for him. And as a help desk guy, that user will work uh, as a L1 guy, and he will be able to just see and kill end user session, and he will be able to restart the virtual machine. Okay, so these kind of roles you can define as per the candidate level. Click on next and finish it. So after that, we are having two engineers here, like Citrix admin and test user 01. In some time, you can see this is help desk guy and this is full administrator. Into the controller, here you will get list of all the delivery controllers. Right now we are having one only, but in production you will find two or more than two, at least two and more than two as well. Into the hosting part, you will get list of your hypervisor. Here also minimum two is required for high availability, and more than two you will get for sure. Into the licensing, you will get license details. Right now we are running at free of cost, so we have nothing here. Okay, as I told you, if you have to allocate a license, you can click on allocate license. You have to give some code and you can